Welcome to Artist Bebop number 35.
Bebop.
35th episode. This is the weekly ramble where I take a 22-minute timer and ramble artistically for 22 minutes. Here we go. This week, I was reflecting. I'm hearing from a lot of peers that the art season, this is Q4 for us, like a lot of businesses, I guess. And it's echoed that it's slow. So I've been thinking about that. And just because a quarter is slow doesn't mean my business has to be slow. So I've been adjusting what I do. And I think it's interesting because I'm watching a lot of dialogue and I watch other people sometimes as far as marketing, just in general. But creatively, I sometimes see, and it off-puts me that someone would change creatively what they're doing, because that's never been my approach. I do what I want for, and I won't even say for better or for worse. It's just that's why I do this. So the part I find myself having to manage is the marketing part. And that for me is really all content these days. I don't do live shows. I don't do any of that. And so I was thinking of the roots of that, of when I first started. And when I did the live shows, and quickly at, my young artist age, I realized that a lot of this, or it is entertainment. The artist is an entertainer, and it even, you can elevate a thing and call it fine art, but at the end of the day, you are entertaining. So I've been thinking about my content, and it's worked well. But then, considering the slow economy, I guess, I've just been thinking of ways to tweak it. And so I've been putting more into it and being more thoughtful and thinking about each platform, which is a lot to think about, but I think it's the adjustment I have to make. And I like what's coming out of it. And a lot of it's just sharing. Even I started this new thing where I'm just posting each night. I'll sit here and do desk work and listen to records, and which I buy too many of, and it's always stuff I have no idea what it is, but and it's a lot of listening to stuff I don't like. But when I find one that I like, I'm just putting it out there and saying a little bit about it, because in a way it's part of my process. At least music is so pivotal to what I do. A lot of paintings have songs that are stuck in my head when I'm working on them, so it makes sense. And what that is, as far as putting content out there, is just giving a more complete version of what I do, where it comes from, where it stems from. The writing's been great because it makes me so reflective, and it's weird, the stories that come out. I really thought I would run out of things to say quickly, but it's not true. There's always something. So that's been a lot of my thinking and organizing, and just also realizing I feel like I put out a lot of content, but I need to do more. Which I think when assessing a problem, no one wants to hear that. Ideally, I'd like to do less, but in order to get the things I want going, I have to amp it up even more, which is cool. I can do that. I can do, it's not easy, but it'll be good, because I don't want to have a bad quarter. So there we go. That was kind of money talk, I guess. What else? I've still got the spooky contest going, so that's cool. I'm having fun with the Halloween theme. So if you got suggestions, yeah, I got a few cool suggestions. They weren't necessarily Halloween ones. My friend Brandon sent me the model car kit covers, like some pictures, and some of them are kind of cool. And he's right. Maybe I should give that a whirl. So you might see that pop up. I'd found one and then I lost it, but yeah, I like. And I've never messed with the cars too much. I guess I'm not, like, I couldn't tell you car names. But what I do like is the graphics on those things. So the ones I was looking at were vintage ones, which I love vintage anything. One of my first projects, photography, I would say that it was a project that sparked a lot of excitement. It was my first solo show, actually. So my my mom worked with me back then in photography, and so I had I was out. I've always loved antique shops, and there was this cabinet, like this medicine cabinet, and the owner said, yeah, somebody's mother died, and we got that. And there were all these medicine bottles and these old labels. They were falling apart, and I'm just staring at them. And then, so my mom worked with me, and she ran my budget. And so I call her. First of all, I start gathering them. I had this girlfriend at the time, and she was not impressed because it was $180 something worth of medicine bottles. And so I called my mom, and I said I needed to spend this much. And it was a discussion. I remember. I said, it'll make its money back, I think. I don't know. I didn't know. But I had the project in mind. And so with a macro lens, I just zoned in on the texts. And I made this series called Context. And it was awesome. And I did that series a long time. It's weird. I think because I'm writing about it in my past and stuff, I've been thinking about photography a lot. And even talking about it with a few friends. So I might pick up some habits, or pick some habits back up, especially my kids. I want to teach them a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see what that turns into. I definitely want to do some pinhole photography with them. I think that's fun. But yeah, they are so fun. They are so much good energy. Like at this stage of my art career, they're so much of the major thrust is their youthful enthusiasm. So I'm soaking it up and channeling it into everything I do. So yeah. What else? Just yeah, keeping a flow in the studio. Since I've been listening to the records more heavily lately. I guess everything goes through phases. But I've been doing more music. I'm so happy because I've done music in the past and put it out there, but it's getting more of a response lately. So I don't know if my audience is getting broader, or I don't know. But I think I'm also, well, yeah. I guess what I was impressed by was that I'm picking stuff that I've never met another person where it's like, yeah, that artist is cool. Like Junior Kimbrough, I did a time lapse of him, and I got more than a few comments on that. And I was surprised. Like, oh, wow. Because to me, they're records that I like, but like most of my life, no one knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, so that's been nice. But I guess because I am more actively looking for records, I'm looking at more cover art. Like I found a Rodney Dangerfield one the other day and gave that a listen. And that's in the studio right now. Which he actually raps on that. It's called Rapping Rodney. Sorry, I'm peeling the paint off of my hands. Yeah, if you're an audio listener, you're missing out on the visual here. Man. Yeah. What else? Marketing's been the big thing. Just so maybe to expound on that more. It's that idea of artist as entertainer. As far as content, putting the artwork out there on its own is entertainment. I think I've always thought that about exhibiting. I remember I did this. I've done so many art markets that were duds, but as far as attendance, but I've never had a bad attitude about it because so we did this one. I did this one, and a hot Houston morning, and a handful of people trickled through for the most part. It ended up being okay, I think, but I had this girlfriend at the time, and she's kind of asking me about it. It was weird, kind of like, don't you feel bad? And it was slow, but a handful of people were coming through, and I said, that's just one or two people, but maybe they wouldn't have gone to see art otherwise, and that's kind of cool. So, but yeah, there is that aspect of art as entertainment by itself. But lately, ever since I've been writing, and I'll be honest, I'm shocked anyone reads this stuff. Is I really, that part of it I started to do for myself. I think I've always wanted to journal, and I think I'm a little scared of it. Well, because even, I have this thing with boundaries, but when you start to write, I'm kind of shocked about what I actually do start to put out there. It's carefully thought out, and I'm fine with it. But it goes back to the vulnerability thing I talk about. You're pretty exposed. But then, and I guess what I was thinking about was the pop art. It's entertaining in itself, but I've started to put more thought into putting out there, why did I pick that? So today I put out a scout trooper from Return of the Jedi, and I remember, and that's a memory, my father taking me to Return of the Jedi. My mom stayed home. I guess she'd had enough. That's all I would talk about and do. I'm not sure why she didn't go, but I can surmise. But I just have that memory that I loved so much, that he took me in that scene with the scout troopers, and there were stormtroopers, and I was very conscious of the characters and the mythology that there was, and the fact that these guys had square heads, and they were on these speeder bikes, and that scene was just so captivating. I was 7 maybe. But anyway, so I put the post out there, and I put that text there, and maybe people will read it. There's my big marketing mind. But because it's sharing and connection, but all of that, like I said, paints a bigger picture of what I'm doing as an artist. And it's always a tricky balance, because it is about the expression, it is about doing what I want, but then there's the practical. I need to bring money in so that I can keep doing that. Yeah. But to me, it's by not compromising it. Otherwise, it becomes a job. It's funny because I have a friend, Ashley, who I did a portrait exchange with recently. She asked me to, and I was humbled because I love her work. And so we chat every once in a while on Instagram. She's in Pennsylvania. And she talks about how, for her, it's the art part, she just keeps it as fun. She has a job that she goes to. And she does sell her work, but she doesn't want to ruin the fun of it. And I get that. And I guess that's what I've worked my whole career to do. Is even though I need what I do to bring in money, I don't want it to not be fun. Which is what happened when I was a photographer. It became not fun, so I didn't do it. But I've never had that trouble with paint, because I think one, maybe I'm a better marketer now than I was when I was young. Well, I am. I have the experience. I know how to say no now, which can be hard. It can be hard to say no to money, but I do. There's plenty of commissions that I turn down. So it's all balance. Now I'm in deep economic thought. I guess that's where I am. I guess it just startled me, like all the posts. But then I thought back to COVID when, I mean, for me, that was real panic. But I look back and I reflect, and I'm proud of how through social media, through making content, and when I look back at that content, it's so raw and primitive, and I had no clue what I was doing, which is okay, because how else do you learn? You don't learn by kvetching or blaming things. And I think about that, so buying is slow. Do I just sit there and let it be? Or do I do things to augment what I do to grab attention and bring it my way so that I can keep making art, as I've always done? So, yeah. I think that's the plan, Stan. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Post ramble. What have I got? Not much. I think it's funny because I do these, and sometimes somebody will mention something from something I talked about, and since it's not written, sometimes it's a struggle for me to remember. Did I say that? But which is kind of cool. And the reality is I'll probably never watch these. But I don't know. Part of making this stuff is I think about my kids, and if I'm lucky enough to have grandchildren, maybe one day they'll watch this stuff. So hi, I love you. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time.
Welcome to my world, El Santos world. Bebop.